Welcome to this week's episode of Negro Please. I'm Dallas Scott, Hollywood Huff, Quan, the producer, guest speaker today, Mr. Eric Kelley. A lot of stuff to get into today. Let's start. Lots of videos, police shooting people going around the internet. I always have this thing about whether or not we should show the videos because I just feel like they're graphic and not everybody needs to see them. And quite honestly, I don't want to see them again because I've already seen them enough and I've seen people get shot and I'm over it. Steve, do you know where the lady cop was from? Like, I just seen the video, but I can't find, I don't know what police department she was in.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on it either other than the video. You know what I mean?
For those of you who haven't seen it, first of all, let's introduce Eric again. Eric, 10 years Sheriff's Department in Missouri, 10 years U.S. Marshal's Office, 35 years training police, military, 36. Civilians, 36.
I'm getting older.
You're getting older. So we're going to ask your opinion on a lot of these, on all these subjects. The first one, though, is this lady cop, and she's outside of her vehicle, and a white guy is essentially chasing her around her vehicle while she has her gun out. She's giving him commands. He's not complying. Eventually, she has to shoot him. And it's crazy because very rarely do you see the people who are taking the video go, yeah, she had no choice. She had to shoot him. And the people who are taking the video are even like, why did she wait so long?
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes I understand that like you don't want to kill somebody, right? You don't want to shoot somebody. I get that. But there's a point in the video where the guy goes, I will slit your fucking throat, bitch.
Yeah.
At that point, like, there's nothing else to discuss here, right?
I feel like you watch the video and then in my memory, I don't think I know this didn't happen, but in my mind, she circled that car like 15 times.
Yeah.
And then
circled a 5 or 6. Yeah.
You know, she just kept backing up.
And then she walked like 3 car lanes over. And
then finally backs up. And then finally, like, you know, I think the whole video is 2 minutes, but it's like a minute and 55 seconds too long.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of her not shooting him. Nobody is going to see this video. And after like 15 seconds, if she had shot him right there, think, yeah, she should have waited longer. Like she was justified pretty much at that point.
Yeah.
And we don't even know how they got to that point.
We don't know how they got to that point because we only see the video from, it's somebody who also is in another car and they're shooting the video, but the guy is yelling and she's yelling loud enough that they're in the car and you can hear them on the audio. You can hear audio from them. The other people, the camera people are in the car and it's so loud, the conversation, that you can hear it within the car and you can hear it clearly. It's not like it's a muffled conversation.
No,
she's telling him to stop, get down. He's like, get down for what?
Yeah.
You know, like, you gonna make me get down?
Well, yeah, he just keeps coming forward with a knife and she keeps walking backwards.
And that's the key. And he's got a knife.
He's got a knife.
He's threatening to kill her. He comes after her. She's backing herself up. It's amazing she didn't fall. Because if she fell, she'd be dead.
There was one point where I thought she was actually, there's a curb there, and she was backing up, and she takes one more step backwards. She's laying on her back because she falls over the curb.
Right.
And, you know, there's a lot, you know, you got to think about it from, you know, if you think about it from her side for a little bit, I think what she did, you know, I'll say it, I think what she did was wrong. She waited way too long. Guy's a knife. He's close enough to cut you to pieces. He said he's going to cut you to pieces. He's doing everything he can. You're backing up. You can't see where you're going. There are vehicles around. There's a curb around. If she falls, he's dead. Or she's dead. Right? So what was she thinking? Well, she's probably thinking, like you said, I don't want to shoot this guy. I don't want to shoot this guy. But here's the deal. At some point, you have to make a decision. And if she waits a little bit longer and injures herself in the process, she's dead.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why that is. I mean, and, you know, from the training standpoint, you know, you spend a lot of time teaching these guys, girls, whoever. These are things you may encounter. This is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to make one now. Because you know what? Shit happens quick, fast, in a hurry.
Right.
So you're going to have to make a decision quick, fast, in a hurry. What are you waiting on? And for me, I look at it and I go, what are you waiting on? What are you waiting on?
Yeah.
Right?
I was thinking the same thing, and I'm not a cop. And I'm like,
right.
Okay. I'm like, okay, maybe. Okay, you should shoot him now. Okay, you should have shoot him now. And then when he says, I will slit your fucking throat, bitch, I'm like,
but you know,
why didn't you shoot him now?
Here's what's going on. And this is the whole deal with, you know, the whole second guessing and the whole, you know, blame the police for everything. You know, in her mind, which is not what she should be thinking. She's thinking, I don't want to have to shoot this guy. How am I going to be judged? What about my family? What about my bosses? What are people going to say? Did I do the right thing? All of those things that should not be going through her mind are going through her mind. And they would be going through her mind when she fell over the curb and he cut her to pieces.
Right.
Which is insane.
So
I'm looking at it going, I don't know what the hell she's waiting on. So that's me.
If you're her boss and, you know, you get the call, one of your officers just shot somebody and we got a tape and you watch the tape and you see this. So clearly, I mean, she'll be cleared of all charges, right? Like there's nothing. You know what I mean? But is there some discipline that you would give her? Like, hey, you took way too long here. You endangered yourself.
So, you know, we would go through the entire thing from beginning to end, and the question would come up, you know, not publicly, it'd be privately. It'd be, you know, like an after-action report kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, not internal affairs, not there. And then, of course, psychiatrists, psychologists would be all in there. What were you thinking at the time? I don't know what I was thinking, which is the wrong answer.
Right.
Okay? Because, I mean, and I hate to say, okay, so it's harsh.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Right,
you know, I like
right.
that word, harsh. Here's the deal. This guy's trying to kill you now. What are you going to do now? I don't know. That's not the right answer. Because you know what happens? You're going to die.
But see, I feel like when cops make that decision like that, like if that's the same cop that hesitates when somebody else's life is on the line. Like, right, like that guy is going after somebody else. Do you feel like they don't have that same type of hesitation, or?
It's okay. I'm going to say it's a little bit different when it's your life versus another's. But again, remember, you are paid to do this job.
Right.
You have completed all the training, whether it's initial training, academy training, in-service training, you know, multi-agency training, all of this. And it's live training, it's, you know, computer-based training, it's scenario training, it's paperwork training, it's all of that. So it's not like they put you in the car today and said, hey, go on out there and let's see how it goes. And you pull a guy over and a guy jumps out with the knife, and you've never had a chance to even think about the possibility that that could happen.
Right.
So if you're thinking 17 different things when someone's trying to kill you, you're going to probably do nothing. So, you know, as we talk about this in general things, what do they say? If you're involved in an incident, you're going to do one of three things: fight, flight, freeze. Fight, you got to fight, you got to do something, whether it's to save yourself, save others, whatever. Flight, you're going to run. If you can run, get the hell out, do what you can. Or you're going to freeze, which is panic. And if you freeze, which is panic, you're probably going to do nothing. And if you do nothing, then you're going to probably get hurt or, worst case, killed.
Yeah.
She did something, but all she could think to do was back up, 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 and try to figure out what to do. And in my mind, she's trying to figure out what to do. The problem is if one thing goes wrong, she hits a car, trips over the curb, or anything like that, the distance that he was between her
Wasn't a lot.
No.
You're talking about, at one point, they stand behind the car, so the width of an SUV is about the distance they were for probably the whole video.
Right.
16,
right.
18
Give or take a
feet.
foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
16, 18 feet, roughly.
Yeah. And not even that. Like,
And then there's a point where, like, we all know, like, when you go into, like, a parking lot, like, there's the driveway of the parking lot, and then they have, like, those, like, cement, like, ovals, and then,
Yeah.
like, the parking spaces. Like, she walks all the way around the oval,
yeah.
backs up halfway down the other lane
Yeah.
before she actually shoots the guy.
Well, it's indecision.
Right.
It's indecision. She can't make up her mind what she either wants to do, and she's clouded by what she should do and what other people are going to be judging her by. And the problem is when someone's trying to kill you, and this guy was clearly trying to kill her, you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to be now. In the other video we talked about before, you know, this guy was running after the cop.
Right.
So it wasn't even, she was at least able to
let's
walk.
bring that back. So there's a video of a black officer gets called to a scene. There's a black guy. He's got two knives or sais in his hand, right? Where they like martial arts sais.
Three-pointed sais.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the cop gets out of the car. The guy's across the street. The cop tells him to stop. The guy comes at him. The cop pulls out a taser, hits him twice with the taser. Guy's still coming at him.
All this while backing up in a circle in the street, right?
The cop is retreating, moving backwards. Quickly.
He's running.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The guy, then the cop pulls out his gun, and by the time the cop pulls out his gun, the guy is literally almost on top of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the cop is shooting, but he's shooting while
running
backwards,
Yeah.
and shooting at the guy, and he fires, I don't know, 8-10 shots,
Yeah.
and we don't know how many hit the guy, but there's a point
They said
where
4 a.m.
It was 4? Okay.
the cop gets across the street and he's finally created distance, and the cop's not even shooting anymore. He's just standing across the street. He's got his gun out, and the guy's coming after him across the street, and then the guy just falls
And the
dead.
guy collapsed. Yeah.
But we don't like the guy was shot 4 times, tased twice,
Yeah.
and he's still coming after him.
Well, and this is what I tell people all the time. You have not lived till you've seen somebody take a taser shot to the chest and pull the darts out and come after you. Or a guy that gets shot and he's still coming after you because you're like, what is wrong with this dude?
Right.
Why is he not down? Why is he not stopping? Why is he still trying to kill me? And I freaking tase him because, you get shot with the taser. That's what they say. You get shot with the taser, you do the funky chicken, and you're done, right? Okay, you shoot a guy in the chest with a taser, or wherever you hit him, but generally it's aimed at the chest. You shoot a guy with a taser, and he pulls the darts out of his chest, and you know that he's being shot, and it's not phasing him. So then you start
How
thinking,
many volts do those things kick out?
I don't remember now. See, there you go, asking me a question. And see,
It's a lot, though. Right?
I should know this answer because I was an instructor for this, so I should know. But it's voltage and amperage. It's high voltage, small amperage, right? But it lights you up like a Christmas tree because it disrupts the electrical flow of the body, which is why you do the jerking. But here's the deal: you shoot somebody with a taser as a less than lethal, non-lethal approach to, shooting them with whatever caliber you're carrying. All right, but when you shoot somebody with a taser and it doesn't affect them, you start going, oh shit, these don't work, right? It's like you spray somebody with pepper spray, and what do they tell you? Well, when you're trained, they say spray them with pepper spray or pepper foam. They're gonna go down. They're just gonna scream, holler, and yell that you can do what you want. Then you spray them, and they wipe it off and go, that's not even the good shit, man. Why are you spraying me? And you haven't lived till you see people do this, and it's funny. Well, it's funny now. It's not funny at the time, but then you have to look at, is the person mental? So mental has a way to affect everything.
Right.
Okay. Is the person chemically imbalanced? I'm always like, whenever you have something like that, I'm like, boy, I can't wait to see what the toxicology screen looks like. What the hell is running this guy? Because obviously the normal shit is not working, right? And then, or is he just, then you've got the whole, suicide by cop, or just, and then actually the fourth category, I call it that, whether, some people agree with me or not, but the just don't give a shit crowd.
Right.
Because you have the just don't, all they either want to do is either go back to jail or die. And it's not necessarily, we categorize it, it's not suicide by cop. It's like, I don't give a fuck about what's going on. And if I live, I go to prison. If I die, I'm dead. Either way, my life sucks. Don't care. And you, as the cop, are in the middle of it. And that's why a lot of cops get in those situations, they lose their minds. So we don't know, until we get more information about that particular incident. Was that a suicide by cop? Was he mentally, unstable? I don't know if it was a toxicology thing. I don't know, because he was pretty clear about his intentions.
He was very clear about his intentions.
And
several times.
Yeah. So, until you find out more information, and I'm sure I will, because you guys come up with these things, and I try to find out information if I know ahead of time.
Well, you had like 2 hours notice today.
I had like 2 hours notice.
Yeah.
But here I am. So,
Quan, I got a question for you, and you can't make everybody's got to answer the question. If somebody told you they were going to kill your child, but if you either got shot or stabbed, which one would you choose? If you let them shoot you or stab you, they'll leave your kid alone. Which would you choose?
Where are they going to shoot me?
In your chest. Stabbed in the chest or shot in the chest. Which would you choose?
Shot.
Shot? All right. Steve?
Yeah, I'm taking a bullet.
yeah, that'd be a bullet.
So, and
Knives are scary.
well, see, and I bring this
For
up
real.
because I feel like
For real.
there's a lot of people out there who think that knives aren't dangerous, right? And I'm bringing this up because there's another video. Police in Lafayette, Louisiana. They're at a gas station. Little, what do you call them? Stop and rob.
Stop and robs. Yeah.
The police are trying to tell this guy to stop. Stop. He's got 2 knives in his hand. He's walking into the store. They shoot him 11 times. I've heard so many people say, but he only has knives. like knives don't kill people
Knives kill people all the time.
all the time.
All the time.
And I don't understand the mentality, but people are like, oh, it's cop shooting another black guy, and we can't lump all these situations together, right? This guy was clearly a threat. Not only was he a threat to the police officers, but he was going into a store where there were other people. Doesn't he become a threat to them also?
He can, and again, I don't, when you see these videos, you kind of see what happens, but you don't really have all the information at the time. I'd like to know what happened prior to that, and then getting into it, and how far was he running around with the knives, what he had said, what his intentions were, who was in the store, was it somebody, okay, for example, was there the problem initiated in the store, potentially, hypothetically?
Right.
They got him out of the store, but the problem that he had was with the person in the store, so he was initially going to do bad things, it got him away, but now he's going back in there to finish the job, and that's why they shot him multiple times. Okay? Now, could they have tased him? Yeah, they could have tased him. Would tasing, if he's going away from you, be a better solution than shooting him? Potentially. I'm not, without knowing the rest of it, I'm not going to say no. I'm.
But that's a huge part of it, is though, right? Like, we never know the whole story.
Right.
Well, we do, but we know it later.
Right.
So right now we have this video.
Right.
So, it's hard to, and of course, because I, did this job for a long time, some people go, well, you're always going to side on the cop side. Well, not always. I said, because
actually you don't.
I
know you very well, and I know,
and I do it for both ways. Okay. And I do it for both ways. You guys both heard me say this. Okay. We spend a lot of time and effort and money to train you how to do your damn job correctly. When you don't do your job correctly and you cause shit like what happens around the country, it's bad. And then I love it when they go, yeah, but you don't understand. That's the way, it just happened like this. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Okay. I and many people like me have been doing this shit for a very, very long time. And you screwed up. And you know it. You're trying to justify it. That's bullshit, because what you should have done was A, B, C, D, or E. I'm not saying it's a one-stop fix, but I'm saying you have options, did not use them. And you cannot come back and say you were not trained how to do this.
Right.
Okay? So that's where the training instructor aspect of it comes back to
how
me.
often, and I know it's department by department, but there's got to be like some type of like average. Like police are required to go to the range. I think Las Vegas Metro is like every 3 months, right?
Well, it depends. It's anywhere from, depending on the department, it's anywhere from 2 months to 6 months.
Okay. So, but how
every
often
year.
do they train for situational stuff? Like people would.
I don't know. It should be an ongoing thing.
Right.
You're going to do, so here's what's going to happen. Okay. Get in the academy. You're going to do an academy. You're going to do minimum 1,200 hours, most 2,500 to 5,000 hours by the time it's done. Then you're going to go to FTO. You're going to be a boot, and they're going to beat the shit out of you, training you for about the next 6 to 12 months, right? Then you're going to be assigned to an area with people that are still going to be doing your training. Then you're going to do in-service training. And I mean, it never stops. Plus, situations change all the time. And so you're constantly learning. Plus, you're reviewing every video, every incident, every scenario, every whatever. So it's not like it ever stops. And then, situations change. Scenarios change.
Laws change. It surprises me
laws change.
how often that police officers aren't aware when laws change.
Well, there's questions and answers for that. Are they being updated on that? Is it their responsibility to do it? Is it the brass's responsibility? I mean, but you should know what the rules and laws are, because it makes a difference. And if you're somebody like me, I joke all the time that I like to win, and the way you win is by having information. And the more information you have, the easier it is to do your job correctly.
Right.
So if your information is lacking and you do dumb shit, you get called on, you get in trouble, whose fault is that? It's yours.
So something I always try to explain to people, and you can verify this, in 20 years of law enforcement and the sheriff's department and the U.S. Marshals, even and just police departments that you've had to work with. So every job, no matter where you work, we live in Las Vegas, so everybody who works in a casino, or if you work at Walmart or wherever you work, there are people who are great at their job, right?
Yeah.
And then there are people who just absolutely suck at their job, and you just wondering every day, how is this person not fired? or why is this person so lazy, or why is this person XYZ?
How is this
Like
person
they
still
suck.
employed?
Like, how do they still have a job?
Well,
So you would agree that there are police or members of law enforcement who are like that, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, every
Of course,
job,
right?
every job
So-
has that. But think about this, okay? So, you guys, let's say you guys work for me,
Right.
okay? And every day, I have you in the briefing room, make sure you're dressed appropriately, have all your equipment, everything works, everything's charged up, ready to go.
Right.
Okay? Part of what I'm supposed to do before I turn you loose and send you out there is update you on what happened yesterday, the week before, what are we looking for, who are we looking for, what's going on. I make sure you know you're healthy, no issues. Make sure you know you're healthy, no issues. What about the other people that are in the squad? Right? I got to make sure those guys are all doing their job. Everybody knows where to go, what to do, this and that.
Right.
If you have a problem, who do you call? What happens? If you get hurt, what do you do? Who do you call? There's a whole hierarchy of things that have to get done at each level.
Right.
So you have the lower end level, you have boot level, then you have the officer level, then you have sergeant level, then you have lieutenant level, then you have captain level, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have other people in other departments that feed information in, maybe intel people, gang people, so forth and so on. So you have a lot of stuff that you have to absorb and then apply that, okay? But even though when it changes on a daily basis, it's not a significant change, the core values and things are still there.
Right.
Why are you not using those? And whose responsibility is it that you're not? So at the end of your shift, you're fine and you fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I can't blame Dallas. See, I got your name right, too. I can't blame, because
Eric is always
it's an
calling me
ongoing
Steve
thing.
and
That's
Steve
right.
Dallas. It's always.
It's not your fault that everything went good for you, but whose fault is it that he did things wrong? Now, he's got the same info that you have, the same responsibilities, and everything's the same, but he's not doing stuff. Is he distracted? Is he, as you said, lazy?
Mm-hmm.
Is he worthless? Combination of all? Or what is it? And then if that's the case, how come Sergeant don't know that? How come Lieutenant don't know that?
Yeah.
So you're sending this guy, not Steve, because Steve's the man, right? You're sending this guy to the street who literally should not be doing this job, but you're sending him out there. Whose fault is that? What happens when what happens when Steve gets hurt like this woman? Because now Steve is in the same situation, but he falls over the curb, and this dude stabs him 20 times, and now his wife and his kids have nobody because he didn't do his job, that he knows what he's supposed to do, and is trained properly because he's too busy backing up, afraid to make a decision, falls over the curb, and the dude does cut his head off.
Does that go both ways, though, that some people make a decision too quickly?
Sure. And, this is where I would, venture to say this woman was probably in that envelope. It's like, I should shoot him, but what happens if I do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, because how much time do you have when someone's trying to kill you?
Well,
How much?
and that's how I look at that other video where the guy with the size is coming at the officer in the street,
Mhm.
and instantly he gets his taser out. Boom! Like, I mean, he had to
Okay.
make that. He had less than like 3 seconds
So let me ask
to
you a
decide
question.
what to do.
And this is a question that he's going to answer. He's going to have to answer. And he lost his shit after that.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Because
He
he
was
did
lost
not
his
want to
shit.
kill that guy. Like
yeah, he was freaking out.
He didn't know what to do.
afterwards.
He,
Yeah.
was,
Right.
he lost his shit.
And
Okay, but think about this. A guy has two sais. So a sai is a Japanese three-pointed deal. Looks like a small pitchfork.
Yeah.
Three-
Raphael carries them in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you guys know
Yeah,
that.
the red
Well,
Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
Here we
That's
go.
his weapon.
Here we go. Ninja Turtles.
I mean, because some people don't know the science, but they know Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So you know Raphael.
Three-pointed short object looks like
Yeah.
a little pitchfork.
Right.
He's got two of them, one in each hand, and he's coming at you full speed ahead. And this officer's first thought is, I should tase this guy. I can tell you right now, he's going to catch hell for that, because a sai is a
Yeah.
pointed object. 6 pointed objects
Yeah.
coming at you quick, fast, and hurry. You know what you do? You shoot that asshole.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
Right now. Okay? There
Yeah.
is no tase somebody, hope you hit them. They're doing the funky chicken at that distance approaching you. Gun, shoot. And if you can slide to his side, because remember, he's coming straight.
Right.
So you put rounds in and move to the side. Hopefully, he continues straight and doesn't get you anymore.
Yeah.
Because, there used to be, and it still exists, people, they call it the 21-foot rule.
Right.
Mhm.
And what does that mean? That means if someone has a knife within 21 feet of you and they charge you, you can't get your gun out fast enough to shoot them. You can get your gun out fast enough to shoot them, more than likely, but you are going to get cut
Yeah.
because it happens too fast. You can cover that ground too quickly.
Yeah.
Now, 21-foot rule went out like 20 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe 25 years ago. It's now referred to as a 30-foot rule. Why? Because people have now realized that you can cover 30 feet fast enough and still cut your ass with a knife, which if somebody's going to cut you with a knife, that is automatically what we call deadly force land. That means you can use deadly force to stop that from happening. Okay? So if somebody's within 30 feet of you, which is that guy was way closer than that,
Yeah.
coming at you with 3 or with 2 Ninja Turtle size, right?
Yeah.
Are we good now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, not quite like the Minnesota Vikings. Add one more. Okay, coming at you within 30 feet, full speed ahead, with the intent to do severe damage to you,
Yeah.
you shoot them now. There's no intermediary step between being dead and using your gun.
Right.
So he'll catch hell because it's like, why don't you shoot him? And he'll probably come up with, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, he'll come up with this as, well, I didn't want to shoot him. Dude, did you not say, and he says this in a video, I almost fell down.
Yes.
He would have killed me.
He did say that several
Yeah.
times. Like
Yeah,
when
he
the
was-
other officer gets
If
there,
you know that,
Yeah.
why are you trying to use a taser?
the lady officer gets there, and she has to calm him down. She's like,
Yeah.
"I need you to breathe for
So
me."
she
Yeah.
can check
Yeah.
to see
See.
if this guy's alive, dead,
Yes.
needs medical, or
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
And she's like, you got to calm down. You got to
need
calm
you to
down.
breathe,
I need
breathe,
you with
breathe,
me. You got to
breathe.
come with me to check this guy. You got to come with me.
Yeah.
And he's
Freaking-
flipping out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and again, every person responds to their own cues for stress.
Mhm.
And we try to stress them out as much as possible in the training phase, academy phase, after the academy phase, FTO phase. Then you're in a car by yourself, but somebody's following your ass around, or you're
what's
in a two-person
FTO?
car, field training officer.
Okay.
So once you get out of the academy, we don't just turn your ass loose.
Right.
We put you with somebody. So we draw straws. We go, I get Steve, right? And my FTO was like the greatest. My first FTO when I first started in law enforcement, he was like the greatest guy ever, and he's an investigator, which is why I kind of went that direction. The one guy who wanted me really, really bad, Sergeant Woody, that motherfucker, boy, he tortured his guys. I mean, every day they wanted to quit, and every day he'd come up, he'd go, you know what, young man, one of these days you're going to be mine. Young man, one of these days you're going to be mine. Because his thing was just to torture the shit out of you all the time, right? And he only had me for one day, right? Because my guy got sick, and we went to a call, empty building. He says, get out, check the building. I'm not here. Get out, check the building. It's like 10 degrees outside, right? He says, get out, check the building. So I get out of the car. I shut the car, but I leave the engine running. Why? Because my sergeant's in the car. And I go to check the building, and he drives away. and he comes back like 20 minutes later, and his response is like, you should never, ever leave your car running. You should never leave the cars unlocked. I go, the car was locked, but the engine was running because you're in the car. He goes, I'm not here. Yeah, but you are here. Am I supposed to let you freeze to death? That's not the rule. And I was like, what an asshole. So the next time I went and checked the building that didn't need to be checked, and I locked the door and took the keys, and I went away for a half hour. And I'm just like, But, an FTO, your field training officer, his job is to be in your head, give you all this stuff so that you learn these things. Like, I'll give you another one real quick, and then we move on. He'd be saying, okay, he'd be sitting next to you, you'd be driving. He'd go, what color is that car that just went past us the other way? It was red. He was speeding. Go get it. Hurry up, turn around, hurry up, hit the gas, cross the street, turn around, get back, speed up, slow down, get behind him, don't let him get in the car, slow down, get in the car, get up on him. And by this time you're going, ah, right? But, you know, their job is to kind of get into your head, get you through all these situations. And then when you screw up, then they come back and go, so what took you so long? I don't know. See, this is the problem. Are you sure this is the right job for you? Maybe you should quit today. And then I could get a boot that actually knows what he's doing. You know? I mean, but you're tormented like that for like 6 months. In addition to everything else. And it's so much fun. I
went and picked up a friend of mine from their apartment. This was like last year when it was cold outside. And the police were arresting somebody. So like one cop gets there first, and he the security at the apartment complex already had the guy. So the cop goes over to gets the guy, and he goes back to the car, and he's locked himself out of the car.
Oh.
It's crazy because like now the cop is trying to break into his own car.
Oh, I love it.
Wow.
And I'm just sitting there like, and I'm filming the whole thing because I just think it's the most funny thing in the world. That like now he's got the bad guy sitting outside, and other cops are coming up, and I'm like, somebody doesn't have an extra key, or like all cop car keys don't fit
they
the
got
same.
a master key or something.
Right.
No. That's funny.
In the last,
see, and you know, in tomorrow's briefing will be you standing outside your car trying to get in.
So I'm giving away my age here, but like I've been watching a lot of reruns of Chips lately, right?
Oh God.
But at some point in every one of those shows, there's one of those briefings, right, where Sergeant Contreras says, this, and this happens. Robbery needs us, vehicle robbery needs us to look for this.
Right.
X, Y, and Z needs us to look for this, and blah, 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 blah. And Ponch, you're an idiot because you did this. Like,
Right.
like, and it's funny because like that show was like 79 to 82 or something like that. And I watch it and I'm like, I wonder if this really happens. And now you're saying
it does. Let me. I'll tell you a quick one, right? Because I have tons of them, right?
Right.
So something has to make me think about it in order for it to come in. So we had this guy, and he had a car, and it wasn't his car because he wasn't like a full-time guy, so he was still in training. So anyway, he's got the car, he's out in patrol, and he puts the car in a ditch. He puts a $70,000 car full of equipment in a ditch, and he bends it. It like folds.
Wow.
Right? Now the car belongs to another guy, and he put it in a ditch. So I hear about this, and we're all laughing. So, of course, we torment him immediately, and then that goes on for at least about a month or so till somebody tells us, okay, that's enough. I'm driving somewhere, and I pass a facility, and it's in the Midwest, and the facility is called Ditch Witch. And a Ditch Witch is a device that digs ditches in the ground. So I'm driving along down the road, and I pass the Ditch Witch building. So, of course, I have to go in and see if they have stickers. And I get 500 stickers. And we proceed to put Ditch Witch stickers on everything he owns for about 2 weeks until the bosses finally go, you need to stop.
so
yes, it does happen. And when you screw up, we will never let you forget.
So Anthony in the chat is asking a question, and it's going to lead us to our next video. If someone's reaching for something and without seeing a gun or a weapon, is it reason to use deadly force? The police have been trained way more than civilian to do the same rules apply for police and civilians using deadly force.
Okay. So here's the question of the day. Okay. Where was he reaching? Could you see anything? And it sounds like he's saying you can't see anything.
Right.
Okay. So they call it the old furtive movement thing. That's what they always try to say. He's doing something that's odd. So if you're standing there, minding your own business, having a conversation, somebody deep dives into their pocket, front, back, or side, should you not be going ding, 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 ding? Something's wrong. Okay? Now, can you see the item? No. Is it possibility it's a weapon? Yes. Is it possibility it's not a weapon? No. But you have to make a decision right now. What do you think it is? Okay. The question was, is it necessary to use deadly force at that point? Necessary to use it at that point? No. Necessary to prepare that you might have to use it? Yes. So what's he reaching for? Why is he doing it quickly? If he does have something, how long are you going to wait to figure out what it is?
That's the problem, right? It's like you don't really have time to wait to see if that's a gun. Because if you're waiting to see if it's a gun, you're probably shot.
Well, as soon as you see something come out, whatever it is it dangerous or is it not? Decide.
Yeah.
And you can do these mock scenarios all day long, and half the time people will shoot people, half the time people will not. Okay? Sometimes you'll get shot because you didn't do anything. So what happens is, do I respond quickly? Ding, ding, ding. Do I not respond and see what happens? Oh, shit, I got shot. So it's one of those where you can't just say it's got to be one or the other. So his question was, is that when you use deadly force? No, that's when you may have to use deadly force, which means you got to make a decision. So what do you do? What's the distance? So I'll give you an example, right? If I'm as close as from here to Steve, which I'm close enough that
You're
I
like
can
less than 2 feet
just
apart.
touch Steve, okay, and you dive into your pocket, I could knock you out before I could draw my gun.
Yeah.
I could push you down before I could draw my gun. I could stop your hands from reaching for something before I could get your gun. But if I'm from here to Quan, which is, our now 6 feet, 8 feet rule,
Right.
okay, I'm not going to get there, which means if he has a weapon and it's a knife or some sort of a sharp object or something, I wouldn't have to use the gun immediately, but I would have at least the chance to get it out.
Right.
Okay? But if it was closer, I wouldn't. So you have to look at it from all of those angles. The correct question is, would deadly force be authorized if he had a weapon? Yes. If. Not just a guy dives into his pocket, I'm going to pull my gun and shoot him, because that would make it wrong. All right? And lots of people get shot like that because they jump the gun. All right? This guy's got his hands in his pocket. The pocket has not revealed anything. The hands have not come out. And if the officer shoots him, there's going to be questions. Now, let's take one step further. The guy says, I'll fucking shoot you, and dives into his pocket.
Bang.
He's going to get shot.
Yeah.
And even if the guy doesn't have a gun, your state of mind was, the guy said, I'm going to shoot you, and dove in. So if he's going to shoot you, what must he have?
A gun.
And in that case, if he dives in and grabs a gun and you're still waiting to see a gun, probably going to get shot. So at this point in time, kind of like I was saying with the woman before, is that you have to make a decision. And listen, I could put anybody they want through any kind of scenario they want, and they'll fail, and they'll go, I know it's going to be like that. But sometimes it is. Or they'll shoot somebody they shouldn't. Dude was trying to grab his wallet, right? So he dove into his pocket real fast to grab his wallet. So first of all, why would you ever do that? Okay? Because you're probably going to get shot. But he dives into his pocket, pulls his wallet, a cop shoots him. And then you find out you shot a guy who's trying to get his wallet. Oh,
So,
shit.
in the last 24 hours, the Jacob Black videos come out. Kenosha, Wisconsin Police Department. There's a lot to this we don't know. Kenosha doesn't have body cams, so this is going to be an
I
issue.
didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've apparently put them in their budget, and they will have them within the next year.
Oh, they'll have them tomorrow now.
right. But at this present time, they don't have body cams. So there's a lot that we're not going to see about this that we would normally get at a later date because of body cam footage. The video that's most prominent is the video from the guy across the street.
Yeah.
And you see Jacob walking away from police. He walks around the car. He opens his car door, and he goes into the car. It looks like he's reaching for something. The cop shoots him. When I see this video, again, I don't know what happened before the video starts. All right.
Right.
The first thing I think about is something you say all the time, Eric, and that is survive the situation, sue them later.
Survive the incident.
Survive the incident, sue them later.
Quote me correctly.
Right. Survive. So, again, we don't really know. And now we're finding out that maybe the police had him on the ground at some other point. He was tased, but the taser failed. We're finding out all this other stuff. But my thought process was that once he opened that car door and tried to get into the car, he's wrong. Like, he can't.
Okay, so I want to go. So okay, and again, like you said, we don't know all the story.
Right.
Okay, here's what I'm hearing, and here's what I've been able to read. Domestic incident between two women. Police are called, police show up. He's there. He actually breaks the fight up between the two women. For whatever reason, they go after him. Don't know why. They get him out of the house. They get him by the car. Supposedly, they tased him, and I'm hearing the taser failed. but he was on the ground on the side of the car, which is a Durango, which is a pretty good sized SUV.
Yeah.
So if you tase somebody, which is a use of force, okay, whether the taser fails or not, I don't know why it fails. I don't know if it failed. But when they tase him, he'd be in cuffs. He'd be in cuffs for a variety of reasons. But first off, you used some sort of force on him, so there's a use of force incident report that's going to occur because you deployed your taser. So he's on the ground. Why wasn't he cuffed? This is my first question. Second of all, whether the taser failed or not, why wasn't he cuffed? Okay? Second question. Third question, why would you let him up after you went to the trouble to tase him and get him on the ground? That's
Right.
my third question. Fourth question, who's running this show? Because you got 3 officers there, and this dude gets up on his own after you tased him or tried to tase him and didn't cuff him, and he walks around the vehicle. Okay, why would you let him do that? So, fourth question, if he's walking one side around the vehicle, how come 1 in 3 officers isn't going around the other side? Because there's no way in hell you're going to open that damn door. So
Right.
that's my fourth question. Why did they let that happen? Fifth question, dude walks around and he's heading towards the door after they've already tased him, whether it worked or not, after he was already on the ground, surrounded, and nothing was done. Why would you let him go all the way around the car and then open that door? Because all you had to do is be right up there with him, right? Now, they had their guns out as he was coming around the car. So he was on the right side of the car, in the front, right front quarter panel.
Yeah.
They have their guns out.
Yeah.
As he walks around the front of the car, the hood, they have their guns out.
Yeah.
As he comes around the left quarter panel, they have their guns out pointing at him. All 3 of them do. Okay? Yet he's still walking towards the car. Why were your guns out? Was there something else we didn't know? Why did you use the guns? Why did you wait to let him all the way get into the car? Now, we don't know why he was going in the car. We don't know why they let him in the car. We don't know what he grabbed in the car. But we know they all shot him as soon as he went into the car,
Right.
which they never should have let that happen. So, I'm not gonna say just flat out what they did was wrong, but I have a lot of questions. I have never let anybody, and I say this all the time, anybody that knows me, that's been in any class, regardless of what the subject is, and it's training law enforcement oriented, I always say this. If anybody's listening, they'll be like, yep, I know exactly what he's going to say. Who's running this motherfucker? Because obviously the 3 guys that were there weren't running shit.
Yeah.
Okay? There's no way in life you let a guy, after you got in control, and they had some semblance of control, you let him get up and do all that. Not happening. So there will be a lot of questions. So on the review, when they go back, they're going to be like, dude. And I hate to even say it, but you go back to the whole George Floyd video. He was cuffed up against the storefront with the officers. Why did it get from there to the car on the ground with the knee on it? Okay, because they were running that show when it was over there.
Yeah.
And then Derek
What
Chauvin came in, the next
changed?
cop, and something changed at that point.
What
Way up-
changed?
right.
So this is
Again. So, and that's kind of, and so those are all questions that I would have, and I'm sure a million people are going through the same thing too.
So there's obviously like still a lot of unknown with this one, because when I first saw the video, and I don't even think there's a video with sound, but I saw it, of course, without sound, and I just see this guy walking around the car and them following him with their guns out, and he opens the door, and at that point it looks like is when they shoot him, right? Like when he walks around to the driver's side of the car. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, this really sucks, but what do you do there? You know what I mean? Like why? Like don't. As a civilian, if me and a person, let's just say me and a person get into a disagreement, whatever it may be, and I'm carrying a gun, and they are going to their car and they open the door and reach in. Now I'm gonna be distanced from them. I may not pull out my gun and start firing, but I'm definitely going to probably raise my shirt up and get ready. Yeah,
right.
You know what I
You'll
mean?
be
I'm
thinking about
definitely going to be
You'll be like,
in the zone.
You'll be like, ding, 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 ding. This not good.
Right. So as a police officer, when you're giving these orders and this guy's walking and you're like, stop, turn around, please don't go, whatever it may be, you're giving orders and he's just not listening.
And the cop actually grabs him by his shirt and tries to pull him back.
Right.
He gets the door open and he kind of goes in the car and that's when the cop shoots him. Like, so the cop like physically had him in his hands at the time,
But
but
here's the
not necessarily control of him.
My point is, it never should have got that far.
Right.
Because
Right.
there's no control of the situation. And when there's no control of the situation, bad things happen. And every incident that you look at, the question is always going to be, and it'll go back to, a training aspect of it. They'll go, why did you let him go from point A to point B? Okay? Whenever the police show up, part of what they're supposed to do is take control of the situation. Okay? Was there control of that situation? No.
Yeah.
Had they taken control of that situation, and that's going to be a question that's going to come up that they're going to have to answer. Okay? Had you taken control of that situation, no one would have been shot. Theoretically.
Right.
I'm not gonna go without knowing all the info. I'm not gonna just flat say no, because I don't think that's wrong. I mean, I have my judgments, but here's the deal. My biggest judgment is he was on the opposite side of the car, on the ground, in some sort of condition. You let him get up. When 3 people are standing there against 1, and there was no fight, there was no hands-on, there was no struggle, he got up, walked around the vehicle. You are not in control of that situation.
And that's part of, like, the other video, like Quan said earlier when we were talking off air, is like the other video is shaky, so you really can't, because the woman who's taking that video is freaking out and you can't really see what's going on. So, like, there's a lot about him being on the ground and being tased that we can't see and we haven't seen that we don't know about.
And that's true.
And it's coming out apparently that he had warrants, and like they went to the, so like when the police,
which is even more reason why did they let him get up and walk off?
Yeah.
Why do you let a guy, I mean, they had some semblance of control, regardless of the taser, regardless of the warrants, regardless of the whatever reason they were called there. It was 3-on-1 and they had control of him. He gets up on his own, and we can't tell that he was, encumbered in any way. He was not physically stopped. He wasn't even blocked. Right. I mean, you could have put a guy in front of him, and he would have had to do something else.
I feel like the one cop had a chance to get in front of him and prevent him from getting to the door, but he doesn't. He's kind of standing off to the side.
That's on the driver's side.
Because
I'm talking about on the
before it even gets there. But because I was looking at it, and I just keep thinking, as a last ditch effort, when I see him reach for the door handle and he's about to open the door, I'm grabbing him by his neck. And I'm doing a slam, like he's going down. You know what I mean? What do you?
Here's the
problem is you have a gun in one hand, so it's hard. Like
here's the easiest way to stop somebody from opening the door. When you're coming this direction and the door's here, he has to pull the door open. The door opens this way.
Right.
You run a body up against that door. Guess what? Door don't open.
Right.
Okay. Can't open the door. So, without grabbing him, slamming him, or doing anything like that.
Yeah.
Right? Which we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay. Without doing that, all I have to do is put my body up against that freaking door.
Right.
And the door don't open.
Now
So they could have prevented him from opening the door at that point too.
So when you see this, right, and you watch this video, obviously with Monday morning quarterback right here,
course.
But still, it's like, you see this video and with this information, because to a lot of people, all of this stuff is black and white. But when you dig into it, you realize it's a whole lot more gray than people want to talk about. So when you see an incident like this, do you obviously, like from everything you said, look, these cops, they had a bunch of chances to get this situation under control. They're the ones, in essence, are kind of responsible for getting it under control. This civilian, the guy who's shot, granted, he wasn't perfect. He did some things wrong that he probably could have done differently to avoid being shot, as we talk about a lot, with surviving. But in the end, do you think that these cops have done enough wrong in this video to be charged with murder?
Well, so I'm gonna let that one go, but I'm gonna throw back a couple other things.
Okay.
Here's what they're going to be judged on.
All right.
Did they have a chance to take control of the situation? Yes or no? Was there a reason to actually detain him, stop him, shoot him with the taser, or whatever it was?
Right.
Yes or no? Were there things that they could have done differently that could have prevented the shooting? Yes or no? And if there was enough of those that was yes, and it still led to a shooting, there's going to be issues. And could they be charged? Could they? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Will they? I don't know. Because here's the
Yeah.
thing. You know, they're going to be judged because here's what the final disposition was. They shot this dude. 3 of them shot this dude a bunch of times.
Right.
Should it have got to that point?
Right.
So I'm not going to say, yes, they should. Yes, they shouldn't. Because I hate when cops do dumb shit and get charged and have issues and drama.
Right.
I really hate that. I mean, yes, I will be critical, and it's a teachable moment. And you could bet your ass, man, tomorrow morning we'd have all them guys in the room, and you know we'd be lighting shit up like a Christmas tree, right?
Right.
Because, damn, dude, you know we're gonna get sued. We got all these other problems. You know, all this training. You know, where are the people that told you how to do your damn job? Because you know what? None of this is what you should have done. So
Right.
there will be teachable moments that come out of that. That has nothing to do with the fact that could charges be filed. And in this day and age, the world is litigious as hell.
Right.
So people are looking for a reason to sue the department. And this is like, from the training aspect, it's like, why are you doing shit that you know is not right that's going to come back on us?
Well, that's something I always talk about. There's this arrogance that, like, especially when you know that you're being filmed
Yeah.
and you continue to do something,
Mhm.
like keep your knee on somebody's neck, or like you see so many times where cops they know they're being filmed. You see 7 people standing
Oh, yeah.
next to you
Yeah.
with cameras, and you got to know in your training that what you're doing is wrong, but you continue to do it anyway.
Well, you know, this is what I tell people all the time, and you know, it's part of the whole training thing too. But you say it on a regular basis. People go, you know, you don't care that people are filming you, and I go, not really. They go, why not? I go, because I'm not doing shit wrong.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing things right, who cares? And let me tell you something. You do something right, there will be no video coverage.
Yeah.
You do
Yeah,
something
yeah.
wrong, it'll be like ESPN, baby. It'll be camera 1, camera 2, camera 6, camera 10, camera 12, camera 14.
Yeah.
And you know this. Listen, then let's go one step further, okay? Now, I know these guys, Kenosha, you know, which I'm stunned they don't have body cams. I swear to you they have them today, right? But, you know when you put that freaking body cam on. But let me tell you something. Dash cams, been around a long time.
Mhm.
Why do you pull up park the way you do? So the dash cam can see a video of everything that's going on.
And that we don't know yet. We don't know if there's.
I know
any
they got dash cams. I know
but
they
I mean,
do.
we don't know
We
what,
haven't seen
like,
it.
Yeah, what the
what
dash cam
angle
show and what-
if
it
there's
was
an
all-
angle there that they can show
But
or
here's
whatever.
the deal. The reason why body cams went on is to police the police. And a lot of police officers hated that. You know, they just hated that shit, right? And, you know, and I'm like this. I'm like, okay, so if you're not doing anything wrong, shouldn't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you an example. I had to go to court over an incident, you know, and you know I won because I like to win. But we had this guy, and the guy was a psychopath, he's a wackadoodle. That's what we call him. He's a nut job. Something's wrong with him, and wanted to fight everybody. You know, can't shoot everybody. You know, not supposed to. Can't tase everybody. Not really supposed to, right? And we were trying to figure out a way not to do it. So I ended up giving him 3 options. Option 1: turn around, hands behind your back, touch your knuckles, interlace your fingers, shut the fuck up. You're going to jail. That's that. Option number 2, all of that, make us come in there. We might hurt you. You'll still go to jail. Option number 3, make it difficult. We will hurt you. You will still go to jail by way of the hospital, but you're still going to jail. Pick one. Don't care which one. I still got to write the report. Pick. Ended up in court over that deal, and the defense attorney was mad because I said that to him. And the judge looked at me and he goes, because what he said was, he didn't really say it the way I said it. So the judge looked at me and I told him, I said, you know, he didn't exactly say it right. Would you like me to tell you what I said? And so I told him exactly what I said. And the judge looked at me and he goes, those are the 3 options you gave him. I said, yes. And what was his response? Turn around, put his hands behind his back, touch his knuckles, interlace his fingers, shut the fuck up. We cuffed him and took him to jail. And the judge goes, so while your choice of words is what he objects to, his client wasn't as stupid as we think he is, and he didn't have to go through any of that, right? And I go, yeah. He goes, so what you said is exactly what you said? Yes. And he cooperated. Yes. I'm not going to lie about what I said, right? So, was I wrong? No. Was there a way to do it? Because sometimes you got to say certain things to certain people to get them to understand what you're trying to do. Okay, and you can't shoot everybody, you can't tase everybody, you can't beat the shit out of everybody, right? So there are ways to do things. Did these guys have other ways to do stuff? Probably. Now, were there reasons why they didn't do it? I don't know. So I'm not going to just automatically say everything they did was wrong. I just have questions. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more video that we need to see on this, because again, the video that you saw, Quan, that was shaky. Did you actually see him on the ground? He was on the ground.
Yeah, I feel like he was sitting like on with his back to the truck, so
Okay.
he wasn't like on the ground being.
He, like laying on it.
Yeah,
Right.
he
He was
was
sitting
So
on the
were the three officers standing above him, surrounding him, flanking him?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean,
Okay.
and he got up pretty quick. And I
Yeah.
think I only saw 2 officers on that side.
Well, you know, the
Okay.
thing about it is the first thing that they tell you when whenever you're dealing with somebody, domestics are the worst because, they're just crazy, right? First thing you're supposed to do when you get there is control the scene.
Yeah.
Was there any control of that scene? I don't know.
I,
Doesn't look
I,
like it.
I think that's the other thing too, is that a lot of people never look at the police perspective when they show up, because they're showing up to domestic violence scene, right? So
That's what that was.
what
You ever been to a
what-
non-hostile domestic violence scene?
We don't know.
Right.
It was supposedly two women
Right.
right.
were into it. Then this guy split them up, and the police were involved.
Right.
I mean, that's the only part that we do know that's legit. We
Right.
don't know any of the rest of it.
But I think a lot of people don't realize, like, you don't call the police, especially black people. We don't call the police until it's way out of control.
100%.
So a normal sane person calls the police when the situation is beyond reasonable
Right.
negotiation, right?
Okay.
Like
Except for
we
Karen.
can't handle it,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Well, except for the other avenue of that is that the neighbors and everybody else is calling.
Right.
So
right.
you may not call because of your own domestic.
Right.
But what about the people in and around you?
And see, and that's
They're
what I'm
called.
saying. So when the police get that call, whether it's from somebody in the house or from the neighbors,
Mhm.
the thought is, okay, they can't figure this out. They can't solve this issue. It's either too violent or it's about to get violent or it's just out of the control
Right.
for them to solve themselves.
Well,
so the
domestics are the
police are
worst.
being called, right? Yeah.
Domestics are the worst. More people get stabbed, shot, beat the hell out of it, end up dead in domestics than anything else.
I want to. We got to wrap this up real quick, but I want to ask a question about this. And the biggest complaint that I see today on the internet is that he was shot 7 times, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Kenosha, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Kenosha.
All right.
He was shot 7 times. And people want to know why 7 times. And I've heard you talk about this so often.
But it was 7 times multiple officers too.
Yeah.
Adrenaline,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Mhm.
I met an officer here in town. His name is Officer Hutchinson, and he was telling me a story about another officer on the force who is like an incredible marksman. And the cop actually gets into a gunfight or has to shoot a guy. He fires 9 rounds and only hits the guy twice. If you can put him at a range, he can shoot,
Yeah,
100
yeah.
out of 100 on the X.
Yeah.
But when he gets into a situation where his life is on the line, other people's life is on the line, adrenaline is pumping, he fires 9 rounds, only hits the guy twice, and doesn't kill the guy. He doesn't hit any vital organs or anything. He
Yeah,
just
yeah.
he hits the guy enough that the guy stops and whatever. Is there such thing as too much force in those situations?
Well, the question you're always going to be judged on is why'd you do what you did? So, I talk about this all the time.
Right.
Why'd you shoot him 7 times, right?
Because 6 one didn't stop.
Because the
him.
6th one didn't stop him. Okay, cool.
Right.
But here's the deal. In this case, it was multiple officers firing. The question is going to be, why were they all shooting? What did you see? And this is where it becomes tricky. Okay, so Steve and Dallas, right? They're firing. Then the question is, Steve, why'd you fire? Because Dallas fired. That's never good. All right?
Right.
Steve, what'd you see? I didn't see shit, but Dallas was shooting. That's never good. Now, when
Right.
they both say we both saw him do this and we both shot, that would be the ideal situation, right? Adrenaline, endorphins, tight space, shit's happening all the time, and everything happens, like I said, quick, fast, in a hurry. All right? So, you shoot enough to stop the threat.
Right.
They felt that the 7 shots was what it was took to stop the threat from whatever it is he was trying to do. And again, we don't know what he was going in the car for.
They have said that there was a weapon in the vehicle.
Okay, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that there was, but Again, if it's a high point, we know that's a throw. No, it's just, for those who don't know,
It's
a
a
high
Raven.
point is
It's a
a
Star.
Raven. Yeah, those are really
Yeah.
poorly made guns
Yeah.
that like you should never
Yeah.
buy and try to shoot.
Jimenez firearms.
Yeah, right.
One of those.
Yeah, those are really bad guns you should never buy because they're not going to work on you. And
Yeah.
Well, actually, come on, man, don't misquote me. You can't bet your life
on
that.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, I get
All
it.
right. All right, guys. Thank you. We're not going to be back next week because next week is Labor Day. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm Dallas Scott, Hollywood Huff, Quan the producer. Thank you, Mr. Eric Kelley, for coming back.
Thank you for inviting me.
Check us out on social media, The Negro Please, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube page. And your site is it three? It's 3.site group, right?
3.sitegroup.com.
.com. Check us out, guys. Thank you guys for checking us out.